You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars and by Wellington Anti-Aging. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Cavaliers could just dribble it out as the Cavs hold off the run by the Celtics. Well, these Eastern Conference Finals are tied at 2 games apiece.
Yeah, there you go. Vegas got it right again.
Amazing. And it was almost double digits. Remember we said yesterday is probably going to be double digits, 9 points.
Yeah. The spread was 7, right?
7.
On the game last night.
Easy win.
Well, I guess it's good news, and it was actually almost a close game, at least for what we've seen so far. What's up? It is Kevin here. Matt Lincoln is in here with us today as well from CBS 12 with the regular crew. Yeah, right at the start, baby. What did you think of last night's game? It was good that we actually had the one that wasn't a complete blowout for a change.
Yeah, I mean, what's the first in 7 conference finals games where it actually felt like it was somewhat of a game in the fourth quarter. I thought the Celtics actually showed some fight in there late. Mm-hmm. But every single time, it was LeBron making plays and his teammates making plays. I mean, Kyle Korver couldn't miss last night.
Tell me what you think about the playoffs that we've got right now. 9-point win by the Cavaliers last night. That's the closest that we've had so far in either conference final. Before that, it was game 1 going to 13 points. I mean, you've had 41 points, 30 points, 22 points. And even going back to the last round, there weren't a lot of close games that have been in there. So when you look at these NBA playoffs so far, do they suck? I mean,
it's a fair question.
I think guys, the NBA, guys thrive when the pressure is on.
Right.
And I think sometimes in these games, specifically game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, there wasn't enough pressure on the Warriors to try. I think they sort of saw that the Rockets were on fire, said, it's game 2. We've already stolen one out of Houston. We're going to win this series. Let's just sit on back.
They kind of hung
Sort
back
of like,
a little bit.
Definitely Cavs game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I think Celtics game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. We've seen guys just say, all right, they got this one, and then quit like halfway through the third quarter.
do you think it's going to get, like, if we start getting into it and we're ping-ponging back and forth, if we get to a game 5, 6, 7, are we going to start seeing tighter games?
We won't in the Western Conference Finals because all the Warriors have to do is try, and that's not going to be a close series.
So, I mean, is this the way the NBA is going right now? Is this ultimately good? Is this what the NBA wants and needs and should have? Because in 2016, they expanded it where you could put a little bit more cap room in there, and then you wind up with Durant and Golden State. Is this good for the NBA, or does the NBA need to really start looking and saying maybe we just need to try to figure out how we don't overinflate and have all these super teams that makes it really...
I mean, it doesn't feel great, but...
Because it's not competitive.
Ratings have been pretty good. Ratings, people are watching.
Are they
this
good?
Stuff.
Well,
yeah.
I think the reason why they're good, and I think it offsets each other. I think the reason why it's good is because you've got so many superstars that are on the court, and name brands sell ratings. They sell tickets. Just ask the Marlins when they got 5,000 people. When you got somebody you know you're watching, you're going to be there with your eyeballs because you want to see what they do, and you're seeing some unbelievable performances. You want to see what LeBron James is going to do. But, I mean, the ultimate win is to have superstars playing in competitive games.
Right.
And how do you match that up? It seems like you offset so radically when you put a Durant on a Golden State team that the other ones aren't even close.
Yeah, it is weird. I don't know exactly what's going on in some of these conference finals because we saw some really great finishes earlier in the playoffs. It just hasn't materialized here. And I actually I thought we were going to get one last night. It sort of felt like the Celtics closed the gap to 7, and there really just hasn't been many momentum shifts in these conference finals games. The question is this good for the NBA? I really don't think they care because as long as
the ratings are good,
the ratings are still so good that if this is the way everything is kind of filtering down, then that's the way it is. And it could be. I mean, the signs are certainly on the wall where I think LeBron's going to wind up in Houston next year.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's your pick? Houston, Philly, LA, Miami. It's all Houston. Or
I mean, if
Cleveland.
I was him, I mean, think about it. You know, the Warriors are going to beat the Cavaliers in 5 in the NBA Finals.
Oh,
So how do you, if you're LeBron, what's the next step? Is to go figure out a way. How can I beat the Warriors now?
Now,
and
you
his only
see-
place to go is Houston.
I guess it depends on his philosophy, really, is when do you want to face Golden State? Do you want to face them in the Western Conference Finals with James Harden and Chris Paul, his friend Chris Paul? Or do you want to face them in the finals with, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons? There's really no one else.
Does
you
it
can mention
matter
on
for
Cleveland
LeBron? I
because,
mean, if you got to face him, you got to face him.
I think he'll look at where do I go where the team is the best around me, and I think hands down that's Houston.
and they have the cap room too, right? I mean, they had to do some things
I think
first,
they can figure it
that
out.
would
Seems
be
like the
crazy.
best fit. It seems like the best move when you really shake it all out.
I think so.
Do you think that next year the NBA Finals are going to be a lot better than what we've seen so far? Because you look back even to last year, and in the conference finals last year, in the conference semifinals, of like the 30 games they had, only 5 of those games were decided by single digits. So you had 25 blowouts last year. You've got the blowouts again this year. Next year, do you have hope that you're going to see Golden State will be there, maybe the Celtics with Kyrie back, and Gordon Hayward, and then maybe LeBron and Houston, that you've got 3 teams that ultimately could compete?
Yeah, I think that's the question: is how big of a step up does Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving coming back put the Celtics into that rarefied air that the Warriors and maybe this Rockets team is? Are they that good? And what kind of steps did the Sixers make? I don't think if they don't add anybody that this Sixers team is going to be better and probably the second best team in the East, but definitely not as good as those other teams, especially when, Joel Embiid being healthy is a coin flip.
So you've got right now in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's all about who's got home court. You go back to Boston. Do they rebound?
Well, that's the question, right? I think this is the last interesting NBA playoff game left, is Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Because the Warriors are going to sweep out here, and the Warriors are going to be favored in the
You
finals.
think the Warriors, it's over?
I think it's done.
Warriors in 5,
I
just
think
like
it's
that.
Warriors in 5.
Man.
This is the only interesting thing is can the Celtics figure out a way to extend the series? That's the only question of the NBA Finals left.
And then that Game 5 will tell you ultimately who has the upper hand on facing the Warriors and who ultimately is going to be the big sacrifice.
Well, I think you still take LeBron in a Game 7. So I'm saying if the Celtics find a way to win Game 5, they're going to go back to Cleveland. Celtics can't do anything well outside of Boston,
Right.
so they're going to lose Game 6 by 30, and then it's Game 7 back in Boston where the Celtics play well against LeBron. I mean, I guess that would be another interesting game, but I think it's probably LeBron.
You think the
winning.
Cavs have a better chance against the Warriors than the Celtics?
Yeah,
Okay.
So,
almost definitely.
yeah, I mean, you answered it
Because
pretty
it's
quickly.
LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't put anything beside. I mean, what he did last night, 44 points.
Again,
Yeah.
He had a large amount of turnovers, but still, that would be before LeBron. That was an epic playoff performance. That is what an epic playoff performance would look like. And now it's just another game. It's
Yeah.
just another LeBron game last night.
25th career postseason game with at least 40 points. His 6th this postseason. Arguably, you're saying this is LeBron's best. He's like just reached his prime, ultimately.
And
you
this
would have
is
to argue
great.
that.
his 15th year in the league, right?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, and he scored the 44 points last night, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most field goals in playoff history. Here he is commenting on the honor.
Listen, anytime I'm in the same breath with the greats, I know you guys hear me say it over and over, it's just humbling. And to know where I come from, you guys know a little bit of the story, but you guys don't know the full story about where I come from and the struggle that I had. You guys know about the single-parent struggle, and I know I heard that story, but it's a lot more to it, which I'll talk about when I'm done playing ball. But to know where I come from, it's North City, 35 miles south of here, and to hear I'm in the same category or talked about and jumping these greats in the playoffs. It's like I was a kid and I watched the playoffs so much, and I was like, I would love to be a part of that. I think it's pretty cool.
Did you see a spread on the Game 5?
I have not seen it yet, but I can find it.
Yeah, I'd like to see what that is because right now the Celtics 1-6 on the road, but 9-0 postseason at home.
The disparity between home and road games is just insane this year when it comes to these
In the
teams.
Eastern Conference Finals.
It's nuts.
Yeah, I would imagine the favor in Vegas goes back to Boston. Would be my thought on that. But,
Golden State is minus 8.5 tonight, so that's tonight's line
okay.
at home against Houston. Boston at this point has opened up as a 1-point favorite in Game 5 at home with that stat you just gave. 1-point favorite.
All right, and that's why.
Feels about right.
Yeah.
Feels right.
Ryan Tannehill is apparently going to look dominating for his first 12 games.
Stop it.
That's
Why first 12 games?
first 12 games. I will tell you why coming up next.
Think Loria did a bad job? Wait till you hear this crap. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Well, today the Dolphins getting together for a little bit of fun. OTAs beginning, and Davey, Matt Lincoln from CBS 12, banned, not allowed. They closed the door in his face.
What'd you
Wouldn't
do?
let him in.
What happened?
No, they didn't let actually anyone in today. Just their own
their
little
own private
social
little
media.
club.
They're all the
Okay.
Dolphins' social media gets the only coverage of today's.
Every
OTA.
every single day, it's Brady's not going to OTAs and New England, all these kind of stories. It seems to be the headlines. I guess the good news is it's quiet. I'm not hearing any Dolphins player that's not showing up to OTAs and doesn't seem like any kind of contract issues or problems or anybody disgruntled.
Well, to be disgruntled, you kind of have to be like a star.
Good point. They don't have any of those. It's a good point.
I
Fair.
mean, only those people who hold out, guys like Tom Brady and Aaron Donald, are guys that have leverage for new contracts. Mm-hmm. Jarvis Landry could have held out last year because he had some leverage. He didn't. But there really isn't anyone there.
They kind of got rid of all those guys, right?
They got rid of all those guys who would be disgruntled. They wanted people who are happy in their building, and that's who they have there now.
When they unleash the media upon
Tomorrow.
the Dolphins yesterday or
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
you think Tannehill, I mean, without a doubt, he's going to be out there. Are they going to try to show him off a little bit? Do you think he's going to be in full speed
100%.
running through the drills?
He's been cleared 100%.
Okay.
Doesn't need a brace.
Mm-hmm.
So he's out there to play, and he's going to practice and go through everything.
Do you think he makes it past August 3rd before ripping out his
Oh, come on, man. Putting the bad juju on him already.
I'm just curious.
It would be a serious case of bad luck. From what I hear, he is 100% healthy, and they're
Okay.
not worried about it. They put him
That's
through
good.
everything.
Well, tell me what you think of this article. They say that Ryan Tannehill should look like a world beater for his first 12 weeks, and he should shine.
Like 12 weeks
Why?
from now?
Why
or
First
specifically?
12 weeks of the NFL season.
Oh,
when
the
he gets
NFL
out there.
season.
Yeah, the NFL season.
Okay.
Yes. They say in his first 12 weeks, he's going to be facing the easiest schedule of pass defenses, weeks 1 through 12. He's also going to be facing a lot of tough run defenses, so they're going to be passing a little bit more, so they're going to be running to Tannehill for this. They say of Miami's first 12 opponents, 10 of them ranked 20th or lower in pass defense last season.
Interesting.
So they say if Tannehill doesn't look good in the first 12 weeks, he's not going to look better in the back end of the season. If he doesn't get it done in the first
That's
12,
only 4 more games. Yeah, they'll probably move on to Brock Osweiler by then anyway.
Oh.
yeah.
So I would say, first off, we read into that way too much just because there's so much time in the offseason to sit here and break down schedules.
Wait,
And
what?
that sort of things change. Teams add other players. Teams dealt with injuries last year. Teams changed defensive coordinators. There's no reason to believe that the 12 teams that were bad at pass defense last year will definitely for sure be bad at pass
so you're not
defense
putting anything on that,
this
basically.
year.
Matt,
No,
why are you bringing common sense to this discussion? Stop. We're trying to have some hope. It feels nice.
Listen, the
It means common
newspapers,
sense.
the newspapers that cover the Dolphins have 3 Dolphins writers each. So what are they going to do?
Yeah.
For all of this time, they have to work. They don't just get to take vacation
Right,
or this
yeah.
whole offseason. They got to write.
You got to
about
have a story. You got to have something
something.
going on. So trying to find some hope for Tannehill and the
Yeah.
Dolphins in
Oh,
the
well,
first
look
12.
at this. Let's make something up.
Throw this out there.
Are you buying this Miami Hurricanes top 10 team in college football?
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't see why not. I mean, they certainly could be. I think that what they certainly showed they've got some talent there, and if they can just get a little bit of improvement for the quarterback position, I don't see why they can't be.
Seems like offensive line's a big question. Strong defense for the Canes this year.
Yeah.
Now, Athlon has got the Canes projected to finish the season ranked 6th.
Man,
Diener, as a Canes fan, are you happy with 6th?
no. It's right outside of the playoff. I mean, it's nice to see them in that contention again, but I mean, at the end of this past season, that game against Pittsburgh, they were in position. They were in the playoff at that point. They were talked about maybe jumping up to 1 or 2 in some spots.
Yeah. But I mean, it really showed at that point, like how much they didn't belong.
Yes.
Even Mark Richt said, "Look, we realized, in those games, and especially against Clemson wasn't even close. There was no doubt in that game at all that Clemson had complete control of the Canes and could do whatever they wanted."
That was such an eye opener, that game against Clemson. And I mean, like you said, you realize you watch that and you're like, oh man, they have some work to do, because that was a real team, that Clemson team, and they didn't even win the title.
Well, I think the problem that you're going to have with Miami is you're going to have to get through Clemson, I think, to get into the championship. And I think that's why this might be a trend for the Miami Hurricanes, that you might want to get used to number 6.
Oh.
Well, I mean, seriously, because until you beat Clemson, you're not making it into the – I mean, how are you going – unless – I know, Matt, you made a case for maybe 2 ACC teams getting in, where the Canes could lose to Clemson in the ACC championship and still make the Final Four?
It's unlikely, but it could.
It could happen, right?
Could happen.
They were talking about last year. It could have happened last year with Clemson on the other end. If Clemson had lost, they probably would have still made the playoffs.
So what we're talking about is being disappointed if the Canes go 11-1. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess.
I think certainly going into this season, they're in discussion as being the second best team in the ACC
for sure.
And so if you're going into if you can figure out a way to win all the rest of your games, and now you've just got to win one game to go undefeated, and I think you're in a pretty damn good spot.
Yeah, I would think considering you tanked 3 games at the end of last season,
so bad.
If the Canes wind up 6th with the 1 loss being to Clemson in the ACC championship, I think for Canes that's a massive win. It's a fantastic season.
No, don't get me wrong. It's a huge step forward. Last year was a step forward, kind of a year earlier than we all thought.
Yeah.
But if they get that far, if they make it to that game against Clemson in the ACC title, which they should, relatively unscathed, if they lose that game in a close game, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but if they lose that close game,
I think you big time are.
They can still get in the top 4.
How much better is Virginia Tech getting?
I don't see them getting that much better, right? I mean, the quarterback is young. They always have a good defense.
Right.
But aside from that, they're kind of mundane a little bit. They're a little bit vanilla. They have to get out of that trend.
That Clemson team, though, is nasty.
I know.
Well, if they can figure out, they open with LSU. And that game, so that is kind of the first measuring stick.
Did you see LSU got my boy?
They
from
did.
Ohio State.
They got that kid. You said he should have gone to Florida.
Should have gone to Florida. I thought he was going to wind up at Florida, and he wound up at LSU.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I think he's a solid quarterback.
Yeah, you've been talking about him.
Yeah, so I think that's a person right away. Luckily, I think the Canes. They bring back Shaq Quarterman. They bring back a really strong defense.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
Yeah, that's the thing you got to love. This was unbelievable. I couldn't believe this. Did your wife watch the royal wedding at all?
We both did.
Oh, you both did. So you were right there.
I was.
You were
I watched
in
it with her. Yes,
you were in it.
I kind of enjoyed it actually.
The royal.
How much of it did you watch? What time did you get up?
The entire thing.
Oh my god.
How many hours did you spend on the royal wedding?
I watched from 7:45 a.m. when I woke up on Saturday. She was actually at work. She went into work. She gets there at 8 a.m. on Saturday. So I put it on myself and watched the last 45 minutes or so.
So you sat there without your wife watching the royal wedding? Are you serious?
Yes.
No.
I was curious. I wanted to see what was going on. And then we watched it later on that night when she got home.
You watched it twice!
That's unbelievable.
This wasn't supposed to come out. It came out. This is bad.
The royal wedding beat this year's college football playoff in ratings.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
More people watch that. I mean, but is that fair, though? It was on, 16 networks?
It was on a lot of different stations. It was.
College football's on one? Wow.
Yeah.
So you just sat there and just drank it all in.
I did, and I liked it. And I don't know why.
What was your favorite part, then?
My favorite part? You know what? I actually kind of like just the ceremony was very nice. It was regal. It was romantic. Really enjoyed it.
So she takes off to work, and you just settle right in with your tea and crumpets and continue binge watching the wedding, huh?
Yeah, I had my slippers on.
Gosh,
very comfortable.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I appreciate your honesty. I think it's quite refreshing.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
You've got.
I didn't watch a minute of it.
No?
Did they ask if anyone had anything to say?
No, I mean, all kidding aside, it was cool.
They did do that, and I was waiting for something.
Yeah. Like me.
Well, he invited two of his exes. Prince Harry did.
He did.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of them was there. She was pregnant. She was her
looked
husband.
bitter.
She was pregnant. She
Yeah.
was a little bitter.
Yeah. She looked ticked off.
Yeah, they had that going on. And it
Yeah.
was, I mean, it was, all kidding aside, it was cool. It was a nice production they put on. You know, the seeing them go by, everybody waving. And
Yeah.
all that. I'm just digging myself a deeper hole.
Yes, you are.
Look at Matt Lincoln, though. He's drinking it in. He wants to find out more about it.
I didn't watch a second of it.
He's like,
so
tell
this
me
is
more,
good.
man. He's loving it.
It was good.
You got spring football is pretty much wrapping up. Is tonight the final game that's going to be going on for high school?
Couple this week.
Yeah, there
but
was
yeah,
a smattering
there's-
last week.
Well, and with the rain, the whole schedule has been all screwed up.
Yeah.
So some of them got postponed to this.
So you got Atlantic Highs going on against Miami Northwestern
Yeah.
tonight.
It's a big one tonight. You know, it's been a weird offseason, you know, for Atlantic. They're just one of their star players, best player, Mark Allen Durock, died in a dirt bike accident a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago. So, you know, they're just kind of trying to get through the spring. They're going to honor him tonight. His parents are going to be there. They're still trying to figure out, you know, exactly if they're going to wear patches and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, Atlantic's been one of the best teams in our area the past
Right.
couple of years, and they still are loaded with talent. And you know, it's been an emotional spring. So I think they're going to actually probably be happy to have spring be over and
Sure.
then sort of reset when the fall comes along.
Yeah. Coming up here in a couple of minutes, Serena Williams, is this the right call for the French Open to not even give her a seed? She's won the tournament 3 different times. Right call or wrong call? We'll debate next.
You can tell his wife. Just don't tell those other guys. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Matt Lincoln in here from CBS 12. Did you happen to watch any of the HBO special that they did on Serena Williams?
I did not.
It was
Did
on
you watch
HBO.
it? Was it good?
I saw just a little bit of it. I mean, there was a lot of landmarks you'd see. They had St. Mary's Medical on there because, you know, it had to do with the birth of her baby. And so I have not sat down yet to watch. I think it was 5 episodes that they wound up doing. And it covered a lot with her pregnancy. And I guess there's a lot there to cover. There was a ton of drama that went on with this. And now she's, you know, trying to get back into it, trying to play. And the French Open seems like that's going to be where she's going to kind of like start off again. Try
Yeah,
to jump
she's played a
into it.
little bit so far. Not a lot of success, but this is her first Grand Slam back. So it's her first Grand Slam since she won the Australian Open in 2007 when she was couple weeks pregnant, and she won the Australian Open.
Yeah.
And now here she is. She's back.
Yeah. Now, this is a little bit of the controversy that's happening with her going into the French Open. She's won the tournament 3 different times. When she walked away from the game to give birth 18 months ago, she was the #1 player in the world. She was coming off her record 23rd Grand Slam championship in the Australian Open. There were a lot of things that were going great for her. Yeah, she hasn't dominated since she's come back, but I guess she's just kind of like warming up. Now, a lot of people think that the French Open should have given her a seed coming into the French Open. She has dropped all the way from #1 down to 453 just because she's been off that long. Matt Lincoln, are you one of those people that thinks she should have been given a seed coming into the French Open?
Of course, she should have been given a seed. You know,
Okay.
first off, so she's getting punished by these tennis officials for having a baby. You know, it's not like she's just played bad golf for a year and a half. It's not like, you know, she had an injury. It was a choice to step away from the game and have a child. You know, this is not something that, you know, other tennis players, this is not something that a tennis player should be punished for, that a professional athlete should be punished for. That's one reason. Second reason is because she doesn't have a seed, that means she could run into the top seed in like the second round or a good seed in the second round. That's the way tennis tournaments work.
Right.
So the biggest star in sports, you are putting probably the biggest female star in sports, you are putting in a situation where she could be out like the second day of your tournament.
Well, okay.
How is that a smart way to run a tournament?
Yeah.
Well, and it does make sense that if you think that Serena, and she's obviously, you know, we were talking about the NBA and the playoffs and what's going on, the fact that they got big names in there, people are going to tune in. And you're right, Serena probably even losing is going to be a bigger draw than some no-name that's going to win in a contest. But explain to me, because I don't understand this. To me, if you have dropped down to number 453 or whatever it is, that when you come back, you got to play your way back in, and you would seed based on rankings, and that, hey, it's not a placeholder, and especially the way you've played in the last couple of tournaments. Right now, you're not showing me that in a sense you're ready for a higher seed and what we would expect you to finish in the tournament. To me, that seems fair. Now, I don't know if tennis has treated this differently in the past, where if you have an injury and you're out 18 months, yeah, we'll come back in and make you the number 4 seed, the number 2 seed, whatever it might be. If they do that for regular injuries, then they should do that for Serena. But if it's based on the fact that, hey, girl, you're ranked number 453 right now, we're not going to just grandfather you in. I mean, you've got to come back in and you got to earn it.
First off, there's nothing left for Serena Williams to earn. She has 23 Grand Slam championships.
When you're
She's
talking
the best
legacy,
there's
yeah.
ever been. So when she has made this decision, so you're punishing her. The French officials are punishing her.
Are you punishing her, or are you just being fair?
Okay. No, this is special seeds do happen. This is not like something that we're asked that people are asking French officials to just like break all the rules for Serena Williams.
So this kind of thing has happened before. Somebody breaks their leg and they come back in.
It has happened before. Where you give a player a special seeding based on extenuating circumstances.
So then why would the French Open do this? Because if I can do whatever I want when it comes to seeding,
right,
and I want to have the matchups where I think I'm going to get the most viewers, it would be in their interest to put Serena in a place where she hopefully will regain form quickly, and she'll be there against some of the top other female players of the world.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know why they've decided to not do this.
Are people sensing it reeks of some sort of discrimination?
That's what women in tennis are saying. I mean, women in tennis are saying.
And it's punishing her because she went to have a baby, and it's like, how dare you wait until you're done playing tennis? Like, this is the way we've always done it in tennis. You don't interrupt your career to go off and have a baby. Yeah. So here's your punishment. And we're going to teach you a lesson, and future generations of women tennis players, if you're going to have a baby, wait till you retire.
Right. That's the problem.
How great would it be to see her come out and just tear her way through this tournament and win the French? I mean, I know she doesn't win the French all that often, maybe once.
She's won it 3 times.
3 times,
which
okay.
You think, wow, that's still. But she's won
out of
other
23.
Yeah, she's won U.S. Open 7 times.
Yeah, so it's not her best tournament, but I mean, how great would it be? Because you make a great point, Matt, in that if she does now start advancing, she's going to play the top seeds early on. So she'll play like an Azarenka or Pliskova or somebody like that in the second round.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
453?
Yeah.
She won the Australian Open last year. I mean, it's we're talking 16 months ago. She won a major, and that was like her 4th out of 5. What are we doing?
What Serena do you expect to see? Do you expect to see the Serena that was struggling in her last couple of tournaments when she was trying to come back, or do you see Serena all the way back in full form? The one thing, Dina, you'll know this because you watched the royal wedding all the way from beginning to end.
That's correct.
Serena Williams, to me, looked super fit.
She did.
Seeing her, and she I don't think she's ever actually looked better when the way she did at the royal wedding. And I the one thing I noticed, I'm like, she looks like she has been conditioning really hard. Looks like she's in unbelievable shape.
Yeah, I would say I would probably see something in the middle of I don't think she's ready to contend for a Grand Slam again quite yet. She didn't just have a baby, you know. She also was bedridden for 6 weeks.
She almost died.
She almost died.
Giving birth. She was amazing.
So we haven't seen great Serena yet. So I don't know.
You think she's got another Grand Slam in her?
Probably. Because she is that much better than everyone else. I just don't know if it's this month or early June that she's going to win.
Give it some time. U.S. Open, I think she'll be back in the final. Wimbledon, she'll start coming back up again. I wouldn't be surprised to see her in the semis in Wimbledon next month, honestly.
And it's a great point. You're right. This is not her best event.
Yeah.
This is not, her. She doesn't feel as much at home here as she does in Melbourne or as in East Flushing. So,
Okay.
I don't think she'll win.
Well, coming up here in a couple minutes, have you seen what the Yankees have been doing with hitting? I think we were all expecting to see some big things, but they have done something again that has never been done in the history of the New York Yankees. I'll let you know exactly what that is coming up next.
Think Loria did a bad job? Wait till you hear this crap. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
When you look at the Miami Marlins this year.
Do we have to?
Are they worse than you thought they were going to be, Matt Lincoln, or are they exactly where you thought they were going to be at this point in the season?
Oh, I think this is about it. I mean, they could be. This feels like about it. I mean, I thought Lewis Brinson would be better. I didn't think JT Realmuto would be this good.
I saw Lewis Brinson in the spring, and he looked phenomenal. I'm like, this guy is going to catch fire. He's going to be the next big. You're going to Stanton who? And yeah, it's not been the case at all.
No, the pitchers have actually pitched a little better than I thought they would. They've had some bright spots there with their young pitchers, but this is about it, right? I mean, we didn't think it would be.
No, I think what's impressive with the Marlins is just the way that they find to lose, which is just absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's outstanding. It's the best thing about them.
Yeah,
you love it.
You'll be up by 5 or 6 in the ninth inning with 2 outs, and you'll somehow blow the game. I mean, those are just the amazing. It's so Marlins. They just keep finding these amazing ways to lose. They've got no offense. I mean, that's the biggest problem. They just can't hit. I mean, the pitching may be great, but yeah, you're right. I mean, except for like maybe Realmuto, I think he's the only Marlin that's hitting over 300.
He is. Yeah, that is a correct stat that you just gave out.
I think Starlin Castro's close. He's like hitting over 290, somewhere in that range. But, I mean, aside from those two guys, nobody's hitting at all. And last night they get blanked again. 2-zip. Mets take them out. Mets are kind of like the Mets and the Dodgers, both two teams that are kind of like been on the downs, now kind of starting to rev back up. The Mets won their 4th straight game, and that's coming off the 3-game sweep of Arizona, who's leading the NL West. So they're 6-2 in their last 8, 5-1 in the homestand, and 24-19 now overall. So they're starting to get a little bit of their mojo back, kind of grooving a little bit.
The most surprising thing to me that you said there is that Arizona's leading the NL West? Arizona's good.
Yeah, well, it's weird. Well, is it because they're that good or because the Dodgers totally vacated the throne?
Yeah, that's true. And there's just so many bad teams in baseball right now.
Well, especially in the West. I mean, the Padres and the Giants are not very good, and neither are the Rockies. So there's a lot of wins to kind of build up.
So everyone else in their division is terrible. That's pretty much what's going on.
I think once you see, the Arizona start to fall back, I think the Dodgers will,
eventually.
Yeah, I think they'll right the ship and get to where they belong. The Yankees, though, man, just looking at what they're doing.
My gosh.
I mean, they are the exact opposite of the Marlins. I don't know if you can have too much offense, but, man, they're clubbing the ball. Are they hitting more home runs than you thought they were going to hit when you saw this lineup starting?
Well,
or are they right on pace of where you thought they were going to be?
I mean, you knew that Judge and Stanton were going to mash.
But you didn't know. Did you expect Didi Gregorius to be hitting the way that he's hitting and how many home runs he's hitting?
No, I mean, he's at the tank, by the way. He was at like 350 for a long time. He was leading MLB in hitting for a while, and now he's down to 240.
Gosh, really?
Oh, he went in a slump?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody else has picked it up. They got a guy like, Gleyber Torres is coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's one of the top prospects in all of baseball.
Yeah, he's living up to it.
He's been incredible, and the Andujar kids played really well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sanchez has actually not hit all that well, and neither is Gardner, and they're still finding ways to just.
Well, they got so much. I mean, like everybody has the potential to go yard that is in that lineup.
And you know what? We mentioned all those names. We didn't even mention Judge or Stanton.
Well, I've got the batting leaders of the Yankees stats in front of me, and Judge leads them in all their major categories.
Oh, of course he does.
In batting average, in home runs, in RBI, in OBP, and in hits. And you were saying, do the Marlins have anyone who's hitting over 300? The Yankees don't.
Really? That is a shocking. So
Judge
they're all just hitting home runs.
86. They just keep hitting home runs. I guess Torres is hitting over 300. He just doesn't qualify. Having enough at bats.
Huh.
But they are just finding ways to drive guys in and pitching pretty well.
Well, I think it's the home runs. They had 5 home runs last night.
Again.
5 home runs. 10-5 win over the Rangers. Yeah, and half your production comes off of that. They've hit 4 or more home runs in 3 consecutive games. That's the first time that's ever happened in franchise history. So it seems like everything they hit is just it's home run derby.
They only have 4 more home runs than the Red Sox do.
That's the thing that's so amazing with this, and that's what makes baseball this year great. If the Red Sox weren't there, it would be like, you're just kind of like yawning your way through the season, waiting to see who the Yankees are going to play in the World Series. But with the Red Sox there, it's going to be fantastic.
That pennant is going to be so much fun in October when they play against each other.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. And yeah, they are going to play against each other.
Yeah.
to see who goes to the World Series.
The Yankees have 12 multi-homer games. They lead the majors.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
But the Red Sox lead the majors in hits, doubles, and total bases.
wow, look at this point counterpoint with Kevin and Matt Lincoln.
And batting average.
Yeah, well, they've got. They got Betts. How many home runs? Is it just those two on the Red Sox that are hitting all the home runs?
Betts and JD are hitting most of
Okay,
the home runs.
so if one of those two guys, that's the one thing. The Yankees
point.
is so evenly spread over that lineup, where the Red Sox, either one of those guys go into any kind of like slump in the season, you worry a little bit more about the Red Sox. At least I would think you should, than the Yankees.
Well, like
What are you gonna
we
say
talked
to that,
about
Matt? Huh?
Judge. That's not wrong, but Judge is leading the Yankees in hitting at 285.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts is hitting 365.
Oh
That's
my God.
insane.
And JD Martinez is hitting 343.
That's insane.
Mookie Betts is a 1.2 OPS.
That's really good.
That's really good.
He's having a very good season.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really.
Wow, I did not know his numbers were that high. Now, are they that high for him and JD Martinez because they have to be? You know what I mean? Is Judge and Stanton, all these guys, not feeling as much pressure, to Kevin's point, because they have everybody else stepping up on the Yankees?
I don't know. I don't know if that's
No?
really the way baseball
No?
works.
All right,
I
fair.
think guys just go up there and hit. You
Yeah.
know, I really do.
I threw it out there.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't
Threw
think
it out
that's the
there.
case.
If
I
you're
mean,
Cashman, though, I think you feel a lot better. If you had to say, what would I rather have? Two guys that are so red hot that are running my team, or, I mean, the fact that you say not even one Yankees player is hitting over 300
That
and you're
shocked me.
getting that kind of offensive production. I mean, it's almost like half their lineups slumping and they're still putting out this kind of offense. Imagine if they all get red hot and start hitting anywhere close to 300.
I think that's true. No, I think they could, and they're all young. I mean, even if they can't figure it out this year,
Right.
they're going to start figuring it out soon.
And they could make history tonight. We had our random stat of the day from our boss, Leo, of course, big Yankee fan. He let me know that, of course, you said about the Yankees' first time in team history, 3 straight games of 4 home runs or more. If they do it again tonight, they'd be the first team in Major League Baseball history
Wow.
to hit 4 home runs or more in 4 straight games.
Yeah, it's crazy what they're doing. If I gave you these numbers, are these the numbers of somebody who should be playing in the major leagues?
Oh, no.
229 batting average, 12
Okay.
home runs, 70 RBIs over the course of one season in the minors. Does that person get called up? 229 batting average, 12 home runs, 70 RBIs.
So it's okay. I think maybe to AAA, bring him up to the next.
Is this
I don't know.
Tebow's line?
It's Tebow.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
He's finally down in 162 games, so he's played basically what would be a full season, and that's his qualifying numbers.
Actually, no, that's really bad. Now that I think
Yeah,
about it,
it's not.
it's only
It's
12
double
home
A.
runs.
Yeah, 12 home runs, one whole season, 70 RBIs, 229.
RBIs and batting average isn't terrible.
The Mets being good is the worst thing for Tim Tebow.
Yeah, you're right. Because if they look bad and you get to the end of the season, then there's a chance that, just as a novelty act, they might call him up. Got some good high school baseball that is going on tonight, and a matchup that just seems to happen every single season. 3rd year in a row, you've got Jupiter High against Stoneman Douglas for the baseball state finals. 3rd straight year they play in the regional finals.
Yeah, we were out there yesterday to preview these guys. You know, so 2 years ago, Stoneman Douglas won the matchup and then went on to win the state championship. Jupiter won in the regionals last year over Stoneman Douglas and then lost in states. But they're both games that got really heated.
Yeah.
It's one of those rivalries. It wasn't really a nice
Oh, really?
rivalry.
It's chippy.
Chippy.
Yeah.
Lots of yelling back and forth and nasty stuff. And so when the Parkland shooting happened, it was one of the things that we really thought about. And we went, and so we went to Jupiter and kind of talked to them about what it's like. You know, and these are guys that you, quote, don't like.
Do you expect a different tone in tonight's
I would
game
think
then?
so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think so for sure. That doesn't mean that Jupiter's going to let them win.
No,
but,
of course not,
but
yeah.
I would expect. I would definitely expect a little bit of it.
You guys going to be covering on CBS 12 tonight?
Yeah, we will have it tonight on.
Okay.
As long as the rain holds off and we actually have a game, we'll have it at CBS 12 at
That's a
11
good point.
tonight.
Okay. Matt
Jeez.
Lincoln, appreciate you coming in. Check out this show on YouTube, get the podcast, or follow us on Twitter at Kevin's Other Show.
You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach, a world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.